with that sound of the whistle, we're back here with episode 15 of the greatest
Testing.
TV
Testing.
show.
1 2.
Podcast.
Testing 1 2 3. Hey, listeners, you out there?
Well, ow.
Ow.
Hurt my ear.
Sorry.
He's like, testing. Hey, everybody.
Hey, everybody out there, everywhere across the globe. Trotters.
Mr. Trottle.
Are we going to start with the movie quotes already? No. Let's do that later.
All right, we got it. Wait. You know how I roll.
By the way, speaking of the quotes in the episodes and the prizes that we have offered, we are going to give our first prize out because the winner has guessed the correct quote, but it was on Facebook. Which, by the way, we've never really mentioned on the show, but it goes by the... So, no, it's only invite only. We can't really talk about the Facebook page. Never mind. We're on Instagram, too, but that's under Greatest TV Show Podcast. I almost gave the email out again. Speaking of emails, GTVS
We're
Podcast
still waiting for the first
at gmail.com. If anybody wants to email us.
For all you 2 listeners out there.
No, listen, we have 6 followers right now.
Ooh.
But we're over 400 downloads.
Right, wow.
Which is
pretty amazing.
I think that's awesome.
I think that's amazing.
I said that to a friend of mine, and I told my sister, and she was like,
that's
wow,
2
that's
people
great.
listening to it 200 times.
Also, I would like to mention that that's without any help from the studios. And you know what?
Right.
I haven't done in a while.
Yes,
right?
because those assholes never gave us the rights anyway. So
Exactly.
now you listeners have to suffer through the agony of trying to figure out what the hell we're talking about.
Right. So you're out there listening. Once you figure out the show, tell all your friends.
Tell your friend
that the 2 actors from the greatest TV show ever are doing a podcast. And it's the show that they've always known. But don't tell them the show.
Right.
Just tell them to listen.
Once you figure it out, don't let anyone else in on it.
Exactly. Just tell them the greatest TV show ever. The 2 actors are doing a podcast. Go listen to it. It's called the Greatest TV Show Podcast. And they will listen to it and they will try to figure out the show, right?
Right.
That's the idea here, right?
Right.
Okay, let me do the disclaimer real quick because we haven't done it in such a long time.
Ready?
Oh, well, you're timing me.
I got my timer ready. All right, ready?
Okay, you ready?
1.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. What's the record? 9 seconds?
I don't know. We'll have to go back and listen to it. But I'm going to try to beat it right now.
All right. And ready,
All right.
set, begin.
Michael and Anthony paid Al and Vinny on the Greatest TV Show Podcast ever. They did not get the rights to the TV show, so they must speak about it vaguely, and you will have to guess. Thank you.
I stopped it late.
Okay.
So I'm going to give you, right now it's a 7.92.
7.92.
I'm going to give you 7.5.
7.5 seconds. Disclaimer. I do think that beats the original time.
Oh, that you mean about like a second and a half?
Hey, tell you what. Go back and listen
Tell
to
your
that
friends.
episode. Tell your friends to listen. If you can email us at GTVS
You win a prize.
at gmail.com.
First 10 win a prize.
First 10 win a prize. And you have to tell us the first speed. Then I beat that speed. And now the new record. All 3 numbers in the email. And you win a prize. Okay?
Prize your face.
So we haven't been doing the podcasts every week like we originally
Right,
planned.
so you remember last year's episode of the characters.
It feels like a year ago. But no, the other day I was driving in my car and I remembered our cross-country trip we went on. After Mike and I did the TV show for so many years, we became really good friends, as you can tell. And
I hate your guts.
and we took a cross-country trip. We went through what, like
On foot. We ran cross country.
hello, my name's Forrest Gump. That's an easy guess. You can't win a prize for that. It's pretty easy to figure out that movie.
Who was the actor?
Oh, God. But you get the reference. You remember when he's running cross country, so Mike and I walked cross country.
Right.
No, we went all the way to Zion National Park. Drove cross country.
In Utah, if you didn't know where that is.
Yes.
If you want to Yahoo it.
Yahoo it, yes. Trying to revive that Yahoo. That was a good one. And so one of our stops was in Colorado.
Mm.
Yes.
Rockies.
Is that all you have to say? Is
Every time. I have that I over exaggerate my to make it funny. Not that. Not the sling blade.
So
Anyway.
we're mentioning Colorado because, as most of our listeners probably know, some might not, but Colorado was the first state to legalize marijuana.
It was.
Yes.
It was.
It was, yes, definitely. And so we went to Colorado. That was one of our stops, and we bring it up because we're going to talk about
House guests.
house guests. Have you ever hosted a guest in your house?
Email us your story.
Email us, yes. GTVS Podcast at gmail.com. We probably won't read those stories, but if you want to email them, go right ahead.
I'll read them.
Oh, goodness. So, yes, you host a podcast. No, that's what we're doing.
Has anyone ever hosted a podcast and listened to two idiots on action?
On action or acid?
Shut up. I meant to say in action, and on action came out.
Oh, good.
And on acid. Have you ever listened to two idiots on acid?
If you do,
Am I on acid right now?
Oh my
What the
God.
fuck's going on?
I wonder if anyone has done a podcast on acid.
Oh, that's gotta be.
That's got to be crazy.
That's probably the greatest movie podcast.
Greatest movie podcast. Okay,
Rein it in.
rein it in. So, house guests.
Has anyone ever hosted a house guest?
Yes. We have on the show. We all know that.
Has anyone ever ghosted their house guest?
Oh, that's a good one. Well, that gets into, when you're hosting someone and sometimes something happens, right? You try to blame the house guest,
Right, I mean, obviously.
The dog shit on the living room. It was the house guest.
Phil. It had to be Phil, because his name, every house guest name goes back to Phil.
Phil.
I apologize to all the Phils out there.
Yeah, right. Sorry, Phils. A few Phils made it bad for the other Phils.
You know why Phil popped in from Groundhog Day? Phil Connors?
Or I always think of Phil Ivey, the World Series poker player. Yeah, I know, right? Nobody knows him.
That's freaking random.
Yeah, that is random, but his name is Phil.
Hey, ever heard of the
Phil?
bingo champion of the world? Yeah, Phil Phil Rarudo.
Phil Raruda. Okay.
Rein that in.
Rein it in again. Wow.
Anyway,
That's pretty
we
bad.
digress again. I helped digress again.
All right. So we got a house guest
Yes.
on the greatest TV show ever.
Apparently his name is Phil.
Take it away, Mike.
So, back when if you rewind the series back to when we were getting casted for the show, I was in Iowa. Well, one of my cousins from Iowa decided to visit New York City, so we put him up in the apartment.
The Iowite, right?
What?
Iowite. Isn't that what you call people from Iowa?
No.
No?
No.
Well,
I Yahoo'd it.
You
I'm
Yahoo.
gonna Yahoo this. No, Iowite. Where'd
There's
you
a
get
lot
that
of
from?
white people there, so Iowite?
That's racist. Racist. So, no,
Educate me, please.
according to the Goog,
No,
or Yahoo.
The Yahoo. The Yahoo.
If someone is from, say, Iowa, there are several things you could call them. The federal government, according to the U.S. Government Publishing Office Style Manual.
Wait, the government labels people? No.
They would call them Iowans. But you might also hear them called Hawkeyes
Ooh.
or Iowegians.
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 What was
Not
that?
Iowites, you jackass.
What's that? Hawkeyes?
Yes,
Hawkeye?
because it's the Hawkeye state.
Oh. That's a bird.
Not Hawkeye from the other show that's not ours.
Listen, don't start any Infinity Wars with me, okay?
That's a movie.
Oh,
And it's also a show.
You got the series. Yeah, that's true. You got this. Okay,
Touche, my friend.
Yes,
touche.
yes, yes.
And that's what we got.
So you're Iowans?
Iowans? Not Iowans or Iowites.
Right, so Al's Iowan cousin.
Yes. Phil.
Okay.
Well, came over to visit New York City, and so very normal guy. We had a great time. We showed him the city.
Oh yeah.
You know, well, the writers and the director and came to us and was like, "We want to use your cousin for an episode."
Okay.
And I'm like, "Well, we got to talk to him."
Right.
So, and he agreed. He read the script that the writers wrote, and he absolutely loved it. He was, this is absolutely hilarious. Not something I would do, but hilarious. So, now, of course, we all remember the episode Houseguest, if we recall.
We do.
He actually was from Iowa. He was visiting New York City. We put him up in the apartment.
He was on a couple of episodes.
Yeah, he was a repeat. They liked him. They liked him so much. They had him call back.
Right.
We're actually going to have him in. I'm not going to say next week, but I say in the future episode, we're going to have him as a guest.
Ooh.
And as one of our guests.
Special guest coming at you.
Dun dun dun. So yeah, we have a couple cool stories with him about that, about different things, but with this one in particular, the writers really, for some reason, wanted to just go off of drugs and how Iowans are bored and do nothing else but
to
grow crops and smoke weed. Grow crops and smoke them.
To take part in the Mary Jane. The Mary Joanna? So,
if we recall, Al came home from work and his cousin was like, he was like sweating. He was in a bad way. And it wasn't detox. He was like panicked.
Oh, gosh.
He was like begging me for money.
The flashback is coming. He's coming.
Begging.
Right into my brain.
Remember him begging Al for money to pay his drug dealer. He's gonna kill me. He's gonna kill me. You gotta. And he grabbed his shirt with two hands and he was like pulling him down because he was falling on his knees, like bleeding.
We remember the episode. Oh, yeah.
And I was like, "Have you seen my car?"
Hanging on his shirt, right?
And I was like, "Have you seen the car I drive?
Yeah.
I can't afford your bad habits. I can barely afford my own good habits. Have you seen the fridge? The pizza gods have not shined down upon us lately.
There's no cable.
I'm hungry. Stop doing drugs.
Cats and dogs living together.
Just say no.
Mass hysteria.
So, not off scene, but I guess the next scene was Al was off camera. Vinny came home and his cousin was home. You remember that scene?
All right. Before that, let's take a quick commercial break. If you remember, a while ago, we're talking about getting sponsors, and you asked about trying to get a clothing line or a sports apparel company.
Right.
We couldn't do that, but here's our commercial for some apparel. Do you have feet?
I got two of them.
Do they smell?
Like day old fast food.
'Cause they're sweating?
Oh, goodness gracious, every day of my life.
And are they cold?
Freezing in the nighttime.
And are they hurting?
Oh, my bunions.
Well, get yourself a pair of socks.
Whoever socks.
Made by any apparel company out there that makes socks.
So I gotta get myself a pair of socks then. Where do you get them?
Go to your local retail establishment for some socks. All right, so let's paint the picture, the visual for the listeners. Vinny comes home, and Phil is sitting at the table, and he's hunched over, and he's kind of teary-eyed, and Vinny comes over, and what's going on, Phil? And Phil looks at him and he says, I need a huge favor. This is life or death we're talking about here. And I just need you to call somebody. I know you know somebody. And I need you to put a hit out on somebody. And Vinny, we all remember Vinny's look, and he's like, what are you talking about? What do you mean a hit? Who do you think I am? And Phil says, come on, Vinny. Come on. You're from Jersey City. Your name is Vinny. You got to know somebody.
You're Sicilian.
I heard you're Sicilian, and you know somebody. You're from Jersey City. I don't want to say it, And the actor done a really good job of just like beating around the bush, kind of like a mafia movie where the bosses are talking vaguely and you can't figure out. Did you talk to the guy about the thing on the dock over there? Oh yeah, he's gonna take care of that thing. But the other guy, so they're doing that shtick on the show, and then Phil finally says, "Listen, come on, you're from Jersey. I know you. If you're not in the mafia, you got to know somebody." And it was just hilarious. And Vinny's like, if you don't stop it, I'm going to put a hit out on you, and it's going to be my hand across your face. Oh, goodness. So you go back to the story about how he actually tries to pay the drug dealer.
So the camera that the pans, remember it was an alleyway. Typical fucking drug deal, like, scene.
They had the smokers, right? Like steam was coming out of the ground or something.
Dumpsters in the corner. Oh goodness! And so the drug dealer was like, "Yeah, where's my $40?" It wasn't even like an actual. It was $40.
That was the whole joke of it too. Oh, it was great. It was so funny.
So Phil pulls out this pistol out of his jacket pocket, and the drug dealer was like, "Whoa, dude, it's just $40. Like, calm down." And then he like turns the handle, the handle of the pistol back over. He goes, "No, I'm giving it to you as payment, so we can call it even." The drug dealer's like, the dealer's like, "What the?" And then he looks at it. He's looking at it like, "What the fuck is it? This is plastic.
Yeah.
What the fuck is this thing?" And then Phil's like, "Oh, I used my cousin's 3D printer. I even found the plans to make this 9mm and I printed it out."
Oh my gosh. That is hilarious.
So the dealer's like, "Yo, just get the fuck out of here. Stay out of my life. Lose my pager number."
The writing is superb, let me tell you. The pager number. And he tells Vinny life or death for $40. And he's asking for a hit on the guy.
3D printing. And this little guy still has a pager.
Oh my goodness. That was too funny. That was great. That was a lot of fun shooting that episode, that's for sure.
Oh my god. Oh, same cousin, different part of the episode, just a small tidbit, but he had a lot of little quirks, didn't he?
Oh yeah, a lot of little quirks, yeah.
We all remember the bottle smell.
Oh yes, definitely.
So Phil's, remember, I gave him a bottle of water. I'm drinking a bottle of water. Vinny's drinking a bottle of water. Mm-hmm. I say I mean Al.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
And you do it all the time. You drink a bottle of water, you put it down, and you're like,
next to someone else's.
This fucking bottle of water. Is this mine? Yours? So he goes back to a bottle of water. Mm-hmm. Phil picks it up, puts it to his nose, and sniffs. And then he puts it back down on the table. He's like, "That's not mine."
And it became a joke. It's like, you can recognize your own smell of your own saliva. And it became a joke on the set.
Right.
And I still do it today, and it elicits the same reaction from everyone. I pick up a water bottle and I smell it, and they look at me and they go, "What the hell are you doing?" I'm like, "Well, it's mixed with these other bottles, so I don't know if it's mine. I'm trying to just smell my saliva to see if it's mine, my own scent."
I had a peanut butter sandwich for lunch. I want to make sure I smell peanut butter in my water.
And if everybody had a visual of us recording right now, I think every time we've recorded, you, Mike, drink out of a bottle, and I always drink out of a cup.
It's true.
This way we know whose is whose, and there's no bottle or cup sniffing going on around here. Oh, and I just remembered so we all know sitcoms and shows like to do the end credit scenes where the credits rolling, and we remember your cousin when he's switching the toaster, the old toaster. He ordered the toaster on Amazon. He's putting the old toaster in, taking the new one out, saying he's going to send back the old one, saying, "Oh, this is not mine. You sent me the wrong package." A little bit of a scammer, that guy.
Right, yeah, a little bit. He's saving $20. Well, that's half the payment to the drug dealer right there.
Oh, that was great.
But they brought him back. The same actor, played the same character. They brought him back like on a different episode, and we took him to Six Flags. Remember that?
Oh yeah, that was awesome.
Oh man, we went to Six Flags. We first get there in the morning, and he buys a hat from one of the vendors.
Yeah, I remember too that they asked the actor to give some ideas or input on what kind of scheming, scamming things he could do. Yeah, go ahead.
Right, yeah. Just build the character, So he buys a hat. It was like a Bugs something Six Flags. I forget the actual hat.
It's a baseball cap, right? I think
it was a baseball cap, but it was
cap.
Six Flags. They have Bugs Bunny and all that stuff.
Exactly.
So he puts that on in the morning. We're there the whole day and night. And then around not lunchtime, a little later in the day, we stopped to get snacks. He gets a nice thing of popcorn. Remember
a big one too.
It was one. Yeah, it was a nice size popcorn. It wasn't a bag. Now we're all three of us are just eating popcorn together, and we get down to about a little bit more than halfway done with the barrel.
Right.
And then Phil goes, "I'll be right back."
And we have no idea what's going on.
He just takes the popcorn and literally walks away from the two of us. We're like, where the fuck is he going? And then he comes back, about 5 minutes? Maybe 5 minutes later. With a full bucket of popcorn.
Full thing of popcorn, yeah.
And we're looking at it like, we weren't done with the first one.
So we says, Phil, what'd you do? How'd you get that?
Did you buy that? Why'd you buy a new one? We were done with the first one. He goes, I didn't buy this. I bought the first one, and I refilled this one. Like, yeah, but they don't have free refills. This isn't fucking soda. He's like, no, I went to the vendor, and I told him that my kid spilled my popcorn.
And they just refilled it.
And they refilled it for him. You don't even have a kid. They don't know that. Oh, Phil.
So fast forward towards the end of the day at Six Flags, and what does he do?
He returns the hat that he bought the morning.
He just wanted it for the day.
It's a sweat lines inside.
Oh, disgusting.
He's like, it doesn't fit right.
Oh, that's good. That's great.
Good old cheap Phil.
Cheap Phil.
So that'll do it for us here at the Greatest TV Show Podcast. I'm Mike.
And I'm Anthony.
And we're signing off.
And now a word from our sponsors. Ladies and gentlemen, today's episode of the Greatest TV Show Podcast was brought to you by the Greatest TV Show Podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're looking for a new podcast about a show that we all love, starring those two great actors, Michael and Anthony, playing Al and Vinny, just tune in to the Greatest TV Show Podcast. You're going to laugh your ass off.